how we roll, man. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we roll, man. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we roll, man. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we roll, man. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we win, man. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we roll, man. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we roll. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we roll, man. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we roll, man. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we roll, man. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we roll, man. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we roll, man. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we roll, man. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we roll, man. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we roll, man. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we roll, man. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we roll, man. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we roll, man. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we roll, man. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we roll, man. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we roll, man. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we roll, man. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we roll, man. This is how we rock. This is how we win
Was there something in my walk, how I talk, giving off the wrong energy? Was there something in my stride, too much pride, telling you to back down? Slowly, slowly you became my enemy. But you can't seem to get enough of me. So if this is the last time, I guess I better make it worthwhile. Yeah, if this is the last time, I guess I better give it my all. So if this is the last time, I guess I better make it worthwhile. Yeah, if this is the last time, I guess I better give it my all. If this is the last time, I guess I better make it worthwhile. Yeah,
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the iRacing Road to Pro qualifying series here at Charlotte. Second split here tonight. Pace car already off. We're getting off to a late start here, but we are ready to go here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Green flag is out. Jacob Hitt's also joining me tonight. He'll be here shortly. But as of right now, we're a one-man crew. So going into turn one, looks like Eddie Kerner was on the pole tonight. Great start for Eddie. They're going to be single files that go through 1 and 2 for the first time. Things are already starting to settle out as they go to the backstretch for the first time. Expect a lot of drafting tonight. Expect a lot of movement in this field throughout the night. A lot of guys struggling to qualify here at Charlotte, but I believe a lot of these guys have their race setups dialed in. So we'll wait for everything to kind of settle out at the moment. First battle for position going to be a little bit further back, going to be between Brandon Hoff and that one machine and Wilt Klein in the number 3, going into turn 1 side by side for it looks like the 6th position. And behind them also for 8th, here comes Garrison Hogan underneath Ben Nelson, former Coke Series driver in that number 15 truck. He's looking to stay in the top 10, but things are already starting to single file out here throughout the entire top 10. 167 laps tonight. Expect 2 pit stops here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Not going to see a lot of deviation on pit strategy, but we may see some guys trying to stay out as we've seen a lot of cautions throughout these splits here in the first few weeks. A lot of guys trying to make their way through and be in that proverbial top 70. Really important to get to that next stage for the Road to Pro qualifying to get into the Pro Series later on in the fall. So these guys have got their game faces on, and it's going to be an exciting 167 laps here at Charlotte. A little bit closer into the action. Here comes, that's the number 1 machine again. Here comes the number 1 of Brendan Hoff underneath Nate Trito going into turn 1. That'll be for 5th. Brendan Hoff, I believe also another former Coke Series driver, and he's looking to get his way into the top 5 solidly now. Started all the way back in the 7th position, already up 2 positions for him. Garrison Hogan also making his way through the field up 2 spots. Garrison Hogan started 10th all the way up to 8th now. Going to be interesting to see when this high line does come in. I know they have done some parameter edits for this track, making that 2nd and 3rd groove a viable option later on in the run. We'll see how that works out. But right now, single file all the way on the bottom line, all the way back to 9th. It looks like the first battle position now will be for that number 9 position. Here comes Justin Lance Nasir on that outside line. Nearly 3 wide behind him. I believe that was between Trevor Perry. Or sorry, that's Kevin King. Normally we see Trevor Perry in the number 13. He's in the number 13 tonight. And then Jeremy B. Davis in the 34. He's looking to get his way through the front. Started 14th up to 12th. Long way to go here tonight. Like I said, 167 laps. Oh, big checkup on the bottom. Garrison Hogan and Ben Nelson got a little bit squirrely there into turn 2. I don't know if they got loose. We're going to be 3 wide going into turn 3. Here comes Jeremy Davis to take advantage of that. I believe the big loser on that exchange is going to be Lance Nasir. He goes all the way back from 9th. I believe he's going to be outside the top 10 now. Let's see where he ends up here going to the line. He's going to be in the number 10 spot. So a lot of back and forth here from about 9th on back. Oh, another big checkup. That's Nasir once again. Checks up that inside line extensively all the way back to Conrad and Case and Plot having to slow up big into 1 and 2. Early troubles almost for these guys in the middle of the pack. You don't want to see that this early. A long way to go here at Charlotte. Very narrow track at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. They're going to have to negotiate about 40 feet of racing surface here. So if there's a big accident, not a lot of places to go if there's a big crash. Going to the front now. Position battle. Once again, Brendan Hoff driving through the field. He is now all the way up to the number 3 position. So he's got his truck dialed in for the short run. We'll have to see how that number 1 machine transpires after maybe 20, 30 laps. You really want to, especially with this tire model here, you want to keep those tires underneath you and keep them as cool as you can for the end of the run, because you may be fast now, but in about 20, 30 laps, you may be paying the price. But as of right now, no one really getting away. Still a big single file, some 2 wide, some occasional 3 wide here at Charlotte. But right now, everyone within about 4 seconds, 4 or 5 seconds between 1st and 33rd. You go all the way back to Tim Sozio in 33rd. He's 4.6 seconds behind. So not a lot of real estate here between drivers, and they're starting to get side by side once again. That's going to be for the number 5 position. That's going to be between Omar Diallo and Kyle Peddle. Kyle Pettle has it. Omar wants it on that outside line. Outside line starting to come in a little bit. It'll be interesting to see if we can get that wall line going. A lot of marbles up there at the moment, but once these guys clean them up, we may be seeing a second group and even a third group materializing here. Still waiting on our co-pilot here, Jacob Hitz, having technical difficulties. We appreciate all of you joining us tonight here for second split Road to Pro qualifying here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Big race implications here, especially for these guys trying to make it into the top 70. We did show the points early on before our initial coverage. So if you want to take a look at that, by all means, go ahead and you can find that. Things starting to settle out a little bit here in the front. First six trucks, my apologies. Single file behind Garrison Hogan. Our first battle for position going to be between Will Klein and Nate Trado. That outside line starting to materialize, like I mentioned before. It looks like that number 3 machine getting that outside line rolling. 31.534 for him on the outside. Nate Trado 4.91. So pretty close contention here. And if these guys keep running side by side, you'll start seeing these first 6 trucks or so pulling away, not necessarily because of the draft model or anything, but because they're going to be killing their tires, just running side by side, lap after lap after lap. So that's something these guys are going to have to play a little bit of give and take. You're going to want to save those tires. Long runs here tonight. Looks like 2 stops will be the call for these guys, barring any kind of caution. So around 55 laps will be the average. So if you're killing your stuff now 12 laps in, you're not going to want to kill your stuff that early. You will go from 1st or 8th or 10th all the way to the back. Pretty close field tonight as we look at the leaderboard. About 4.5 seconds separating the field as they're still in a giant pack here in Charlotte. Things settle out a little bit for the top 10. First newcomer on the scene in that top 10 now is Blake McCandless. That number 8 truck started 15th. He is one of our hard chargers. Behind him, Liam Brotherton also up 7 positions, started 17th up to 10th. So Blake McCandless and Liam Brotherton both on the move in those 2 trucks. We'll have to see them, see if they can keep that move, keep that momentum going to get through this field. They have done a very good job. Some guys sliding behind here, 8th and 9th respectively, starting on the field are now 12th and 13th. Lance Nasir and Ben Nelson both struggling at this moment, trying to maintain their track position, but right now they're just hanging on for dear life as Ben Nelson on that outside line being challenged by Ben Nelson as we talk about him. Or sorry, that's Jeremy B. Davis in the 34, Ben Nelson in the 15. My apologies. Kevin King behind them in the 13, trying to get that outside line moving, as well as the number 27 of Kaysen Platt. Haven't really heard much about Kaysen so far tonight. We'll see if he can make his way through the field. And it looks like we might have our first retiree of the night. Tough scene for the number 28 car. Trevor Perry, it looks like he has fallen out of the server in some way, shape, or form. Not sure what happened there, but that is a tough break for Trevor Perry. I know he was preparing all week long for this event. He's been working week after week trying to have these good finishes, and that's a real shame to see him and his fellow spotter Brian Hicks out of the event this early, only 15 laps into the event. Oh, potential battle for the lead. Here comes the number 4 machine. That's going to be Will Norton. Looking low on Eddie Kerner. Still single file for the moment, but I think Will Norton's just trying to mind his P's and Q's, let Eddie know that he's there. He's about all over that rear bumper. You can see him just barely over that giant spoiler. It's I don't want to copy Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s moves, but it's a pretty big spoiler, if you know what I'm talking about, as we start to single file out once again in the front. I'm going to do a quick sound check on Jacob. Jacob, are you here with me? I'd like to welcome Jacob Hitz. He's having immense issues with his Discord. Technical difficulties here in the STN booth. But Jacob, I know you've been having some issues, but so far this race has been pretty good, man. I think you turned in with me, and I think we're going to have a good race tonight.
Well, when I first launched the server, I heard somebody come over the radio and say, check it up, and thought they were going to crash as soon as I got in. That was on lap 2. We've been able to make it 18 laps rather, without any incident, but we've kind of got a battle starting for the lead, or at least second, as Will Norton's trying to make that outside line work. He's going to pull to the inside of the race lead on Eddie Kerner here.
Yeah, Jacob, and I think something that we'll start seeing here, especially in 1 and 2, is that second lane will develop, and that'll be your opportunity to pass, as Will Norton does execute the pass on Eddie Kerner. First lead change of the event as we work lap 19 going to lap 20. So put that number 4 truck to the lead, commanding this long train of trucks as they go into turn 1. But like you said, I think we're going to have a lot of battles and a lot of competitions. No cautions yet. But I think we're due for a great race tonight.
Well, and Kerner came over the radio as soon as Norton got by him and said, "I'm just riding around." So he was perfectly fine with letting Will Norton go by for the time being, because we've got 167 laps on the board, and we are just now 20 laps through them. So there's still a long time left here at Charlotte.
Yeah, just over 10% underway with this race. About the first 9 trucks or so starting to pull away. Blake McCandless leading the end of this train. First one leading out of it going to be that Liam Brotherton number 2 machine. He's about a second behind this lead battle as Chris Overland now going over the mic trying to steal our job. But looks like things finally starting to settle out here at the front. I think these guys are going to do some good old co-opetition, as old DW would say. I think these guys know that just minding their P's and Q's and kind of just riding, as Eddie Kerner mentioned. I think that's the best way to pull away from the rest of this field. As I say that, here comes Blake McCandless for 8th.
Well, you want to ride here, there's no doubt about it, because if you don't, you're going to eat up your right front tire, and you're going to be pounding the outside wall after about 40, 50 laps of this, 40 laps, because they can only make it about 40, 45 on a pit stop with fuel and everything. So these guys have got to be careful with their tires. We've seen tires blow out here before. Really all of the 1.5 mile tracks that aren't, even the ones that are completely smooth, still do it. One of my talking points that was going to be at the top of the show that we never got to was about, we were at Atlanta a little more than a month ago. And yeah, this is another cookie cutter racetrack, but the surface here compared to Atlanta is completely different.
Oh, 100%. Much less abrasive. Still pretty bumpy here at Charlotte, but whatever they did here when they repaved it in 2005 going into 2006, it has still kept that dark surface. So very heat sensitive racetrack, and it's normally a very much a bottom feeder. We go to Atlanta and you can run pretty much everywhere, but here unless they throw the old PJ1 here, it's going to be pretty much you're going to want to run the bottom. And if you can get that second lane moving, as we've seen a little bit as we look at a battle here for the number, I believe that's for 3rd. Brendan Hoff on the outside line. Here comes Omar Diallo on the inside. But if you want to run that high line, you're definitely going to have to pay the price and wear out your tires just a little bit more than your counterparts.
Yeah, you really got to be careful when you're running the outside line here, because it's not as prominent, as you mentioned, as some of the other racetracks. Is oh boy, on the outside of Diallo, Brandon Hoff, he got a little squirrely there off of turn 2, but him and Diallo keep it side by side. Then it's Kyle Peddle, who I don't think we've talked about at all, just because he hasn't been in second split yet this season. 6th race on the season. I think it's the first time he's in a second split race. He's inside the top 5. He'll take 4th away from Hoff.
Kyle Peddle, I believe he's 45th in the points overall. 44th. So he's had a great showing, solidly in the top 70s right now. He will, if he can maintain this position, he will definitely stay in that top 70. A lot of guys here up in the front also in the top 70. So these guys hoping to have a good run early on, very clean start. Here comes Garrison Hogan now for the top 5. And we mentioned it earlier before you joined us, Jacob. A lot of give and take on these tires. If you want to push them early, you very well may see yourself falling back, and that's what's happening right now when that Brandon Hoff machine started 7th, made his way up to 3rd. He has now been relegated back to 6th in that number 1 Chevrolet.
Well, and after, you've got 167 laps, you better be saving your tires this early on in the run. Yeah, you can only make it 40, 45 laps on fuel, but still, you want to be able to have tires at the end, so that way if we have green flag pit stops, you're not crashing trying to get on pit road. Remember, there's now a pit wall at the entrance of pit road. There wasn't here for the longest time, and they added it when they built that front stretch chicane here when they made the Roval. So that's another hindrance that you don't see at a lot of the 1.5 mile racetracks, that there typically isn't a pit wall right at the entrance to pit road. There is here, and it'll come up on these guys in a hurry when they go to make these stops in about, 10, 15 laps already.
Yeah, getting really close to our first round of pit stops as they run right now. Your leader, still that number 4 of Will Norton. Him and Eddie Kerner have now opened up about a 1 second gap from our third place competitor, Omar Diallo. He's maintained his track position, started third, still third in that number 11 machine. Kyle Peddle up to fourth. Harrison Hogan started 10th. He is now up to fifth. So things starting to settle out just a little bit here at the front. But like you said, Jacob, pit stops looming, and we're starting to see these tires fall off for many, and we're finally starting to see some separation of the field. Initially, about 4.5 seconds separating these drivers, all the way back to 32nd, about 8 to 9 seconds between first and 33rd. So things finally starting to spread out here at Charlotte. We expected this close quarters racing for the first half of the run, but things starting to finally show their colors as far as who's got the best long run truck, who's got the truck set up to win tonight.
Well, these guys have already fallen off almost 2 seconds since the drop of the green flag. Will Norton's fastest lap was a 30.6. His last lap was a 32.2. So he's fallen off almost 2 full seconds from what he was running at the start of the race. So there's no doubt that these tires are pretty worn right now, and these guys are pretty much just hanging on for dear life. As Eddie Kerner, he hasn't lost sight of Will Norton. These two have kind of scooted away from everybody else. Diallo has fallen back since he's had to battle a little bit. But this top two really seem to be the two guys that are going to set the pace here. There's no doubt.
Yeah, Eddie Kerner definitely, like you mentioned earlier, Jacob, went over the radio, said he's just chilling. But at the same time, you don't want to lose sight of that number 4. I believe we're seeing, as of right now, probably two guys we're going to be talking about in about 130 laps or so. I believe we'll see these guys up at the front the entire race. But, right now you don't want to ruffle any feathers. But Eddie's just maintaining himself in the draft. You get a little bit of a pull here at Charlotte down these long straightaways here at the 1.5 miles. So he's kind of just minding his own business, maybe wearing his tires out a little bit behind in that dirty air of the number 4 machine of Will Norton. But right now, about 0.3 of a second separate these two. But going back a little bit, first battle for position as we go down the backstretch, that's going to be between, it looks like, Lance Nasir, who's still trying to fight on that outside line. He's in 15th. Here comes Case and Plot. Oh, gets a little bit loose underneath that number 31. And they single file out, but a couple of these guys are falling back significantly. But someone that's making his way through the field up 16 positions right behind, or actually right in front of them now, Caden Honeycutt in that 14 started 31st up to 15th. He may be a threat at the end of the race.
And Honeycutt's been one of the most consistent guys that we've seen in this second split, where he can start out back, he can start out front, but he'll still find a way to be there at the end and be a nightmare for the guys up at the front that are trying to hang on. There's a reason he's in contention for the top 70 in points, and it's because he has been fast and he has been consistent all season long.
50th position is Caden Honeycutt, 117 to the good, ahead of 70th. So another good performance here, trying to make his way through the field. Gets underneath Lucas Cram in the 16. That puts him now up to 14th. About 5 seconds behind our leaders. So starting in the back, definitely not the best start for him, but he is making up for it. He is now into the top 15 solidly. Next potential victim will be that Jeremy Davis machine in the 34. For the most part, everyone's kind of minding their own P's and Q's, staying where they want to be, staying where they started, but he is definitely the exception. Another guy that's also making his way through the field, Blake McCandless, has now solidly put himself in the 9th position. We talked about him briefly. He's looking for a great finish tonight as well as everyone else.
Yeah, new paint scheme on the 8 truck this weekend, and he just made the pass there on Brandon Hoff to put himself in 8th. And now we'll focus in on the back bumper of Nate Tretro in the 7th spot. In that 22 machine, we are anywhere from 5 to 10 laps away from green flag pit stops here in the 6th race of the season. We only have 2 races left in the eNASCAR Road Pro Qualifying iRacing Series. Round 1 is Ben Nelson and Brandon Hoff are dirt tracking it here off of turn number 2. And I think some guys may have burned up their stuff, and there are 2 classic examples right here, at least Hoff, because he moved up to the front in a hurry, and he's fallen back even faster.
Yeah, Hoff definitely paying for that early charge to the front. He is now going to be battling for 9th. Here comes Ben Nelson. I was a little bit worried about that 15 earlier. I believe he was saving his stuff, because now he has rallied his way back into the top 10. He was battling outside the top 10, battling 12th, 13th, 14th alongside people like Jeremy B. Davis, Lance Nasir, and Caden Honeycutt. He's now made his way back in the field. But like you said, Jacob, 2 more races after tonight. We're going to Martinsville following this event, and then we go to the Monster Mile in Dover Downs. So it's going to be, I think this is the first, I would say, lawful neutral event. Martinsville always lends itself to being one of the more chaotic events that a lot of people are going to be worried about what's going to happen in front of them and behind them more than, worried about their setup. And then, of course, Dover is a treacherous track just to get the setup down. So I believe this is the last, what can we do to have a solid finish before we go to two of the more chaotic tracks on the schedule. So these guys are looking for a good finish and a good consistent finish here leading into these last two events.
I said it before the session opened up. This is the beginning of the end. After this week, all bets are off. It's kind of like throwing a road course or throwing a plate track in at the end of the season. Martinsville and Dover are two very unpredictable racetracks. Dover's got that Bristol aspect, except it's bigger, and the crashes are a lot more violent there. Martinsville, I'm sure it's going to be eye-pacing, and we're going to have 37 cautions just because that's how Martinsville plays out. But still, I think these guys will give us something to keep us at least entertained as the night goes on in 2 weeks. But, man, we got a really good battle back here trying to figure out where this is at. I think it's, oh boy, I'm going the wrong way. Back here for 19th with Justin Nasir, Michael Frisch, Ryan Loeb. Frisch trying the outside line, but he's not really getting much from that outside line. He's just kind of there because there are people on his inside. He's struggling up there, but we're closing in now. We're in the window where I would expect to see folks come on to pit road as Frisch almost gets hit by Nasir off turn 4. That got close.
Hearing some guys on the radio coming into the pits. It looks like we did see at least one taker a little bit further back in the field. That's Chris Pfeiffer in the number 17 car. That's going to be, he was 34th last time by, so he was almost at the tail end of this field. So he will be coming in for 4 tires and fuel possible adjustments on that 17. As we go to the front, more guys coming in. Dustin Johnson on the horn. He's coming in. But as of right now, front 2 still out there pacing the field.
Tretto, Brotherton, Nasir, Hawk, Hunt, Johnson, all coming in. Everybody else stays out for the most part, and you got to be careful with where you're at on the racetrack. When you come to pit road, you don't want to get Mark Martin and slam head on into the outside wall. We've seen it happen before, more recently with Quinn Houff. So it is definitely prone to happen at these racetracks where, the cars want to slide up off the corners. Kyle Peddle comes in, Omar Diallo comes in. As the cars slide up off the corner, you got to hit the brakes in order to get to pit road. Somebody may try and squeak it by on the inside, which is exactly where you want to go, contact and into the wall. You may go. Green flag pit stops underway as we're waiting on the leaders to come in. Will Norton, Eddie Kerner, Garrison Hogan, Will Klein, Blake McCandless, your top 5. Chris Overland says he's coming in. Same with Michael Frisch. Still awaiting the leaders to come in. And here comes Eddie Kerner. He's going to slide it onto pit road. That was scary. He'll bring Garrison Hogan with him. Everybody else in the top 5 make it the top 10. Stay out. We got big trouble. Turn 4.
Turn 4. Big trouble.
Michael Frisch and Ryan Lowe. Frisch and Lowe. Frisch gets hit again.
Oh!
They're still piling in. Let's see, Nate Tretto, we just talked about him. His front end is all torn up. And Michael Frisch, who was coming in this time around, it had to start with him as that's, I believe, where the contact started to put us under the first caution flag of the night.
Looks like, and I was about to mention it, you really have to blow up the truck here at Charlotte. Not a lot of real estate to slow your truck up to make pit speed. You really got to use that first groove, and you got to let the people around you know, hey, I'm coming in. And if you got people in front of you, you got to be aware. Look at your chat, look at the audio, and
Oh man!
And Ryan Lowe just gets right into the back of Michael Frisch, and Chris Overland nearly got into that as well. He had to make a face of maneuver. And he managed to get out of there. But it looks like someone just absolutely came in here and plowed into the 32, trying to see who that is. It was, let's see.
Well, I tell you what, Overland made a great decision. He hit the gas so he wouldn't get run over there by Frisch. Then he turned dead right to avoid the commitment cone because the caution came out. He didn't want to be strapped on pit road. He turned dead right, avoided the pit wall and everything, and was able to save it. Here's the onboard with Overland. You're going to see wham, and nope, don't want to be here. Oh, as they continue to just pile in behind him. Frisch he got piled drove. I'm not sure where Ryan Lowe was going, but hard hit there. Torres then piled into Frisch. Then after the caution flag's out, people on the brakes trying to woe it down as the 22 Atredo that comes in and bops Frisch after he was all but to a stop here on the front straightaway. And then, of course, Frisch had everybody flying off turn 4 before he was able to get it turned around. Everybody else is on pit road right now. Eddie Kerner pitted right before the caution came out, and it looks like he's going to be your race leader. Him and Garrison Hogan stay out. Everybody else is taking advantage of pit road. Will Norton will win that race off pit road. Blake McCandless second, Will Klein third. That will be your top 5 with Norton third, McCandless fourth, and Will Klein in the 5th spot. We will step aside here and go side by side as we are 45 laps complete. First caution flag of the night during green flag stops here in the first round of the eNASCAR Road to Pro Qualifying iRacing Series from Charlotte. Eddie Kerner, your leader. We'll go side by side. You won't miss a thing.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
And we welcome you back here to Charlotte Motor Speedway. Eddie Kerner out in front right now. We're under our first caution, and we'll have the wave arounds here go by, I believe, this time around. Jacob Pitts, Kevin McAdams here with you for the call. Our tech issues are resolved, and everything is back to normal, thank goodness. We'll have a restart here with 48 laps complete. And I didn't get to see the initial start here, Kevin, so I'm curious, what do you expect here on the restart?
Well, Jacob, I mean, we saw initially a lot of pack racing. Bottom line, definitely the preferred groove. So I expect these top 2 at least, they both come from the same garage, both come from the dead zone counterpart. So I expect these guys to work together. But behind them, Will Norton was leading this race right before this caution came out, right between our first round of green flag pit stops. So these guys will have a little bit better tires behind them, should equalize out as we go. But I expect the number 4 to come back through the field. And Blake McCandless in the number 8, he has made his way through the field thanks to these pit stops. He has gained quite a few positions. He is now up to 4th. Will Klein will round out their top 5. So I expect another crazy restart here and a lot of side-by-side battles back in the back.
Field is coming through 3 and 4. Pace car will make the hard left turn onto pit road, and we'll get the green flag back in the air as it's Eddie Kerner and Garrison Hogan leading us back down to the restart. Field bunches up, and Kerner's on the gas. Green flag. We're back underway here at Charlotte.
First battle for third. Looks like Will Norton gets underneath Blake McCandless. They're going to be side by side now for 5th. Here comes the number 15 machine once again. He's trying to make, I'm sorry, that's going to be, yeah, it is 15. Here comes Ben Nelson. He's recovered nicely. He is now up to 6, going around that number 3 of Will Klein. And another guy that's recovered really nicely thanks to these pit stops, Jeremy Davis, now back in the top 10. So once again, a lot of side-by-side battles here up in front, but another guy who has made his way through the field, Caden Honeycutt, is now in the top 10 in the number 14.
A lot of congestion from 5th on back, really. It's Will Klein and then everybody else kind of in a glob here as they come off of turn 2. Everybody side by side. 34, Jeremy Davis slid down the racetrack a little bit. Thought he was going to turn another truck, but they're able to keep it green for now as Davis and Hoff make a little bit of contact through 3 and 4, able to straighten it out. As they come off the corner, still side by side. It gets awfully narrow coming off of turn 4 and onto the front straightaway. Even when you're side by side, you can always make contact and things can get sideways. As Garrison Hogan trying to hang on to the second spot. Blake McCandless on the outside in the 8 truck.
Here comes Blake McCandless trying to rally his way through this field, making that high line work. Here he goes around Garrison Hogan. And right now, he's got to be loving this clean air he's getting on that outside. Here he comes around these 2 trucks, the 18 and the 9 of Garrison and Eddie Kerner. New leader, the number 8 of Blake McCandless, started 15th tonight. He is looking for the W. He is up to 1st, only 52 laps into this event.
Will Klein just got booted up out of the groove. He's sideways in the outside line. That's going to stack up the 15 as well. The 34, they all kind of stack up and now get things sorted. As that got scary there with the 15 of Ben Nelson and the 34 of Jeremy B. Davis. As Will Klein, he got some help into the outside line. As McCandless now out in front. Garrison Hogan's going to fall all the way back to position number 5. Eddie Kerner in the 2nd spot. And already lap traffic, it's Brandon Hawk that the leaders are going to catch here soon.
Yeah, Brandon Hawk was one of the recipients, I believe, of the wave around. I'm not sure if he received any kind of damage or anything from that last incident. Didn't see him involved in that first caution, but really unfortunate to see him right in front of the field here. He may very well go a lap down at any minute. But right now, things starting to settle out. Blake McCandless, he's the first guy I've seen that can pull away from the guy behind him. Eddie Kerner now about 0.8 of a second back from the number 8 machine. He's now falling into the clutches. Here comes Will Klein behind him, and we talked about him a little bit before. Caden Honeycutt, man, he has made his way through this field in quick fashion. 54 laps in as of right now. 31st all the way up to 4th, so expect him to be a threat for the win tonight here, Jacob.
There's no doubt about it. As we continue to watch these guys really click off laps, we are getting closer and closer to the halfway point. Of course, I need to break out the calculator since we've got a goofy distance for tonight to see what exactly halfway is. I'll figure that out here in a moment.
83 and a half would be the math there.
See, this is why we bring a mathematician into the broadcast booth, because Lord knows I'd never be able to figure it out by myself. So lap 84 or so is when we'll get to halfway. We're 30, now make it 29 laps away from the halfway point here at Charlotte. Garrison Hogan, Brandon Hoff battling for P5.
Well, it looks like Garrison, he was one of the recipients who had stayed out there for these round of pit stops. He's starting to fall back. Started 2nd on this first restart. He is now falling back to 6th. A little bit of rear damage on that number 9 Toyota. Sorry, it's a Chevy rather. What is a Toyota? But he's struggling a little bit right here. Brandon Hoff trying to rally his way. Is it a Ford? They all look the same. I feel like I'm a boomer saying that, but they all look the same these days. But he's fallen back. First battle for position. We're going to have to go a little bit further back here. Everyone's pretty much single file. But one guy that fell back throughout these round of pit stops, Liam Brotherton, he had made his way all the way into the top 10. He's now fallen all the way back to 18th. He just got around the number 35 of Joseph Galato. So let's see if we can get him to rally back to the field. Jose Solis Jr. out 15 spots. He's right in front of him. He's in 17th, looking to get underneath Matthew T. Lee. But as of right now, single file throughout the rest of this pack here, Jacob.
And Gulata is ready to move Brotherton up out of the groove and out of the way. He is not on the same wavelength as everybody else back there. So Brotherton really struggling right now. Escalado almost got into him off of 2. Now he moves to the inside for that 18th spot. Jose Salas Jr. getting by P.J. Evans right in front of him. And Will Klein, he continues to fall back. He's now getting passed by Chris Overland. Garrett Conrath on the inside as well. That may open the door for Matthew Lee in the 26 machine as well. So from bad to worse for Will Klein.
Yeah, Will Klein started, I believe, 5th on this last restart. He has fallen a considerable amount back. He is now all the way back to 14th. Falling into the clutches now. Matthew T. Lee, here he comes all over the rear end of the number 3 machine. He's trying to get on the back of him and get underneath that number 3. Here he comes. But right now, Will Klein, just among a few drivers here who was working their way through the field on this first run. After that caution, he has definitely fallen out of sorts. Maybe something going on with the setup in that number 3, but he has now fallen all the way back to 14th here.
Yeah, he has fallen way back there. The back end damage doesn't help for when he got run over. But for the most part, he's just trying to straighten out the ship at this point and not lose any more spots. Here comes Chris Overland underneath Ben Nelson. That's for P11. Trying to bring a train of trucks with him. Not sure I'll be able to do it this time around as Nelson got a good run there on the outside. Nate Trado has parked the car. He is done for the afternoon. Such a shame because he was up inside the top 10 before getting involved in that accident off of turn number 4 to bring out our first and only caution. Blake McCandless has put the rocket boosters on. He's out front by a second and a half. Then it's Will Norton, Eddie Kerner, Caden Honeycutt, Brandon Hoff, your top 5. Garrison Hogan, Kason Plott, Kevin King, Jeremy B. Davis, and Lucas Cram, your top 10. Then it's Nelson and a gaggle of trucks behind him. This is where business is open right now.
You want to talk about someone who took matters into his own hands there on that last caution. We talked about Chris Overland pretty much doing everything he could to get out of that incident. He has now recovered very nicely. Started 26th tonight, and he is now up to 12th. As I say that, here comes Garrett Conrad looking to challenge for that number 12 position. But right now, Chris Overland doing what he can, trying to mind his own race. He has done a very good job of being slow and steady and getting through this field. A lot of guys ahead of him have definitely done a little bit better, but Chris Overland, the veteran, he has made his way about halfway through this field. Expect him to be in the top 10 the rest of the night.
Caden Honeycutt blinked out for a second. Now he's back, but he is in the 3rd spot. He was trying to get around Eddie Kerner. Kerner had to lift so he didn't get killed by an invisible boatmobile. And Honeycutt now is in that 3rd spot. The hamster conveniently stopped running on the wheel, I guess, which is why Honeycutt disappeared. But now he's back and in the 3rd spot, and Kerner just kind of is saying, "Are you all right? Everything okay over there on the radio?" Just making sure that Honeycutt's all right.
A lot of banter here going between the top 5. I think they're just having a little bit of fun here, working lap 64. But things starting to finally maybe settle out here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. First battle for position, go a little bit further back here down the front stretch. I believe that's going to be Joseph Galata still trying to get around Liam Brotherton. He's been trying to work him over the better part of 5 or so laps here on this run. Behind them, the number 7 of Tim Sozio. He's recovered nicely. He started all the way in the back. He was around 33rd, first 30, 35 laps due to these cautions. Just good fortune, I guess. He's now in 19th. Behind them, Timu Toika. Big fan of Timu. We love Timu here in this house. He's in 20th and what nice top 20 finish. So it's good to see these guys making their way through the field as Liam Brotherton still fighting Joseph Galata out of turn 4.
I don't think I've seen Tim Sozio ever qualify in the eNASCAR Road to Pro Qualifying iRacing Series. He just seems to always start out back, and then he winds up crawling his way through the field with strategy and cautions, and winds up in the thick of it by race end. So good to see him cracking the top 20 and trying to settle this between Brotherton and Galata. It's like a cat on Velcro right now, the number 2 and the number 35.
Yeah, Liam Brotherton, the temporary winner, got that outside line working. Here comes Sozio looking to capitalize as well. Get around the number 35 machine of Joseph Galata. He's trying to make his way through the field. For right now, Liam can breathe just a little bit, about a 3-car length gap between that battle for the 18th position. He might be able to finally start rallying his way back to the front as he was earlier in the race. But right now, it's still struggling in that number 2 machine all the way back in 17th. but someone I want to do a quick shout out to right now. Jose Solis Jr. has done something that no one else has done. I want to see if he does it again in turns 1 and 2. He is making this third lane work in 1 and 2. He's the only guy that does it. He goes around the number 26 of Matthew Thiele, and he proves me wrong, as you know, the broadcaster's curse always does, goes to the inside line. But up 17 spots in the number 5 machine. Former Pro Series driver, looking to get his way back in, but having a good run so far.
And just up the road from that, you've got Lucas Cram with Ben Nelson all over him, stacking up behind him with Overland and Conrath. And it's really, I think the main goal is trying to get by Jeremy Davis, but he is not given an inch.
Jeremy B. Davis holding up this field. Lucas Cram trying to rally his way through the field. Jeremy needs a good run tonight. A lot of guys need a good run tonight. 67th in points as of right now. And that only puts him about 30 points to the good. The way these iRacing points are given out, that's not a lot. So, very close battles here. And he's going to want to stay in this top 10 to maintain that position. A lot of these guys here having to fight people that are working right now in the top split. They're going to be wanting to do the same thing. But Jeremy B. Davis right on the bubble as he's going to potentially lose 2 positions here. Lucas Cram takes over the 9th position. Here comes Ben Nelson. He's also in the fray for the points, currently tied for 70th with the likes of Jordan Worth and Eric Weinland. Lucas Salmaso is also tied as well. So a lot of battles, and there's Jose Solis Jr. finally proving me right, running that high line behind this giant pack.
These guys are all over each other. Just watching Nelson and Overland go back and forth. Of course, Overland 2 weeks ago at Darlington sent it in, turn 1 on the last lap. Him and McCandless make contact, and Overland got space forced as a result. Not what Overland was looking for, because he had a solid day going up until that point, was up inside the top 10 when that contact happened. Overland trying to rebound. He's pretty solid in the points at this point, so it's not that big of a deal. He's P12 right now in points, but I'm sure Overland still would have liked to at least finish the last race just to continue to pad the amount of points that he had. He's 449 points to the good, but stranger things have happened. It seems like a long season. It really isn't. That the margin of error is really, really small.
You're not kidding. I personally tried to make my way through the ranks in this. You really can't have a bad race. If you end up having 3 bad races like myself, you're pretty much out of it. So these guys are literally counting points like they're counting beans on a bean counter. So I'm sure they got people in the area letting them know, like, hey, this is how much this is going to score. This is where this guy's at. So these guys know what's at stake. They're going to be fighting tooth and nail for every single spot. Battle for position. Eddie Kerner fall into the clutches of Garrison Hogan, who I thought was falling back a little bit. Must have saved his stuff here. Working lap 73. He puts himself back into the 4th position. Eddie Kerner, this is the furthest back he's been. He's all the way back now to 5th. And behind him, Kason Plott. Haven't talked about him. He's been just quietly doing the same thing that Caden Honeycutt has done. He is all the way up from 19th. He's working his way into the top 5. Good solid run for that 27 machine.
And I tell you what, oh boy, Kerner just got really loose off the corner, but he tried to put Kason Plott down in the turf on the front straightaway with a block. Plott still stuck his nose in there, but Kerner was able to hang on around the outside. How about battle for the lead? Blake McCandless, he had a 2.5-second lead over Will Norton. That is no more, and Will Norton is knocking on the door. He wants the lead again. He's looking to the outside in turn 1.
They'll running that super high line, trying to get in that shade there, trying to get a big run on Blake McCandless. He was about a 10.5 faster the last few laps. This went from, like you said, Jacob, about a 1.5 gap. Now we got 3 trucks here within about half a second battling for the lead. Here comes Will Norton. Here comes Caden Honeycutt running right up against that blue and white line on the inside line here. And these guys are going to be all over each other. And this may lead to, if these guys go to battling here as Caden gets underneath Will Norton, that's going to be for second. This may lead these guys behind them, like Garrison Hogan, Eddie Kerner. These guys might be able to get back into the lead battle here. Working down the backstretch. Man, Will Norton making that high line, get that good momentum, using the wake of Blake McCandless, get that big run, try to hold off the number 14 of Hayden Honeycutt. Getting close here to pit stops. I believe they went back green. Let's look at the count around lap 49. So we're probably about 10 to 15 laps away from our second round of pit stops. Hopefully no cautions. Don't need anything like that. But as of right
Way
now,
to jinx us.
yeah, I did it before. Talking about Jose as Will Norton making that high. Oh, he did not make it work. He got real tight off of 4 or off of turn 2. Here comes Caden Honeycutt, and Will Norton's just going to let him go.
Yeah, at this point, you might as well just hang on to what you got instead of trying to burn the tires completely off the car. But still, it's Blake McCandless out in front. He has not won a race with us. And I better double check the points here to make sure I'm not lying. Blake McCandless, no, he has not won an eNASCAR Road to Pro qualifying iRacing Series race through the first 5 races of the season. He has 2 top 5s. He finished second back at Atlanta. But has not been able to take the top step of the podium right now. He's still out in front. We are closing in on pit stops, but that thing, when it's out in front, it's pretty darn good.
Clean air always king, especially here in NASCAR, in these trucks especially. So as long as Blake can keep it up there, I believe he's going to be in contention for this thing for sure. New colors on that number 8 machine. New content creator, big news last week. Now part of Kligerman Sport. That's a big signing there for Parker Kligerman. Blake McCandless, one of the leading streamers on Twitch. So if you ever want to give him a shout out and give him a look, Mr. F4 Speed, typically live 4 or 5 days a week, between 11 to 6 or 7 or so. So what'd you say, Zach?
I think he's live now. He's
probably
probably streaming his point of view, and he's probably...
He is live right now, so
yeah, and
if you guys want to open up a new tab, go pull it up. You can see the battle for the lead as we're looking right now. Here comes Caden.
Yeah, get a free onboard with Blake McCandless as there goes the leader, Caden Honeycutt. He'll fly right by, and he will take the lead. His first time out in front this afternoon, but I tell you what, McCandless isn't backing off too easy.
Yeah, here comes Caden. Caden Rush, what an inspiring battle all the way through this pack. Started in 31st, now all the way up to P1 on the field. And we may see this gap for the lead get a little bit bigger as now Blake McCandless under the clutches of Will Norton. He's trying to rally back and get to that second spot underneath him. He just conceded that to Caden. So, and in the meantime, there's a truck getting a little bit bigger behind these guys in the mirror. Here comes Garrison Hogan. He was a little bit off pace. He's definitely saved his stuff. He is now all over the back of Will Norton for 3rd.
He's the fastest truck on the racetrack right now. Will Norton, the second fastest truck, at least 2 laps ago. McCandless actually faster than Norton that last time by. Honeycutt faster than both of them. But I tell you what, Garrison Hogan is a missile right now, and he is flying.
Top 4 pretty much in their own zip code at the moment. About a second ahead of our 5th place competitor. That is Kason Plott now up to 5th. But here comes Blake McCandless trying everything to get some clean air on that nose of that number 8. Caden Honeycutt now pulling out about 2 truck lengths on these top 4, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th under a blanket. And then you got Kason Plott, Eddie Kerner about a half second behind him. And then we have a little bit of a gaggle here from 6th on back. Benjamin Nelson, he's done a really good job on recovering. He was battling for 12th and 13th that first run. He is now up to 7th. Brandon Hoffman 8th. Will Klein 9th. He's recovered nicely. He was also around the back half of the top 15. He's the 9th, and then Lucas Cram will round out the top 10 as we're getting a little bit closer to pit stops here, Jacob.
That we are. Just an update on that opening crash. Ryan Lowe has parked the car. He's done for the night. Michael Fresh, will speak to him after green flag pit stops. He's currently sitting on pit road. They're trying to put a new motor inside this thing as Fresh... I think he just wants any point that he can get right now as he's 41st in points, only 190 points to the good. I know only. He can't afford to have too many more lights like this if he wants to have a shot to move on to the next round.
Yeah, tough break for Michael Frisch. He's done a fantastic job all season to run very consistently, and this is going to definitely put a dent and put him in that bubble range if my math checks out. So he's going to want to have a good run here at Martinsville. But
how about Garrison Hogan getting by Will Norton? He'll take the 3rd spot as Kason Plott has fallen off just a little bit from the top 4. But everybody's still pretty close together. Honeycutt, McCandless, Hogan, and Norton all within 0.6 of a second of each other.
Pretty surprised, honestly, not to see that 14 kind of just pull away The way he's cut through this field, I thought he would set sail similar to how Blake did early in this run. But like you said, about a second separating this field. Someone that's starting to, once again, close up. I just don't really know too much about him. But Kason Plott really impressing me. He's about 1.1 seconds behind, and he's starting to get closer and closer to that Will Norton machine. He very well may be in contention for not only a top 5, but he may be in contention for a win. A little bit further back, we have a little bit of a, once again, that gaggle is developing. You got the 13 of Kevin King, Brandon Hoff, Chris Overland all underneath the blanket. You got Garrett Conrath in here. A lot of high-end talent. Jeremy Davis, Jose Solis Jr. still running that third lane. So these guys are trying to do everything they can to not only get clean air, but trying to get these positions as they get closer to green flag stops.
And once we get to green flag stops, that is going to be pretty much the eye wall of the storm, where we're going to see if we're going to get a caution flag, it's probably going to be from there when everybody's trying to, some are trying to pit, some are trying to stay out. It just takes one mistake from one person, like we saw in that last one, and it could take out 3, 4, 5 trucks at least. Chris Overland on the radio, he says he is coming in. Omar Diallo, same story.
Matthew T. Lee leads off the first round of these pit stops. Lance Nasir is in. Borja Valero, he's been in the back. He's also in. So a little bit earlier than I expected here, Jacob. But we got to be careful here. I don't want to jinx these guys, but you got to really be on the radio. You got to let these guys know around you. Hey, you're pit. You don't want to see what happened to Michael Frisch and have that happen to you, especially this late in the championship. Here comes Overland. Here comes the entire second half. It looks like at the top 15, Kyle Peddle is in. He actually has rallied all the way back up to 16th despite being involved in that wreck. Liam Brotherton, Omar Diallo, a lot of guys are in right now.
They made it through just fine. Jeremy Davis is coming in this time. Brotherton in. Brandon Hoff coming in this time around. McCandless goes to the high side, but the top 3 make it top 5. They still stay out. First one to come onto pit road this time around is Jeremy Davis. Brandon Hoff right behind him. Everybody else is going to stay out, it looks like, for the most part, as the leaders choose to stay out yet another lap just in case we do get another caution. But Blake McCandless is right on the back bumper of Caden Honeycutt once again as he got a little sideways off of 2.
Yeah, a lot of battles. I mean, these guys are about to pit, so they got to be careful. But here comes Garrison. Garrison making that inside line work. We'll see if he might be coming in. But right now, Caden and Blake have moved to that second lane, so they know something we don't. But we got someone else coming in here. Let's see who this is. Got a couple guys coming in. Mitchell Hunt pitted. A lot of these guys are pitting a little bit early because they were at the wave round. PJ Evans came in. Looks like Eddie Kerner, one of our front runners, is in right now. He's looking for 4 fresh ones. And I expect these guys who are leading the field, I expect these guys to come in very soon.
Hogan takes the second spot. I only realize now that we just blew by halfway and wasn't paying attention. So we'll do our midway race break here after green flag pit stops, as Will Norton almost got the wall coming off of 4. The top 10 all stay out. I don't know what they're waiting on here because they are running out of time. Other than it's Hogan and Honeycutt, I believe, that are on the oldest tires. They did not pit under the last caution. They pitted right before it. McCandless is coming in this time by as he let Garrison Hogan by. Will Norton on the radio as well, but he's not going to pit. I think he's going to pit this time around since he was up on the high side and really couldn't come down. As Timu Toiki got a little sideways through 3 and 4, able to hang on. Everybody continues to stay out. Everybody else continues to stay out other than McCandless that last time around.
Boy, I've been just kind of keeping my eye on turn 4 as the number 17's coming in. We've had about 3 near misses as they've gone through. We've seen some of these guys like Lance Nasir and fellas that have pitted a little bit earlier. We've seen almost about 3 or 4 wrecks as they've gone through 3 and 4. So we're going to keep an eye on these guys that are pitting. It looks like Lucas Cram is coming in. I see some smoke here. I don't know what happened. Yeah, well,
it's because Caden Honeycutt is blinking like crazy. I think the hamster may have died that was powering his router or something, because he's been blinking for about a full lap now. He wound up wedged in the outside wall at one point. Now he's hopping down the back straightaway. I'm sure Garrison Hogan is loving seeing that right now. Kevin King, Kason Plott, they're coming in this time. Will Norton coming in this time, I think. No, he'll stay out. Plott is in. Ben Nelson stays out for another lap.
Oh, someone got sideways entering the pits. Kyle Peddle very vocal against Garrett Conrad, very frustrated trying to navigate the slow traffic. Kevin King is in. Kason Plott, he's made his way in. Caden Honeycutt's still out there leading, but we have almost rounded our way out on these on the second round of pit stops. Some guys still out here. Will Klein still out here. Ben Nelson. These guys just looking potentially to maybe catch these guys under yellow. Like I said, we've had some very near misses, and it looks like once things will settle out, it may very well be a new leader after this round of pit stops. May have Chris Overland be taking over on the lead, just depending on how these guys in front will be going.
We've got a battle for the lead right now between Honeycutt and Hogan. They're side by side. There are only 8 folks left that have not pitted. Garrett Conrath is coming onto pit road. Everybody else continuing to stay out. Here comes Overland. He's going to blow by them like they're standing still. 3 wide to turn 3. They'll make it work. Hogan's still trying to make the bottom side work, and he will barely, as Will Norton is coming in this time around. Looks like everybody else. No, Will Klein is coming in, and I think that's it. Everybody else is going to stay out for the time being. It's now Garrison Hogan out in front.
Man, Kyle Peddle, he almost just got into the back of Caden Honeycutt. Kyle Peddle was very vocal on the radio, as I mentioned a little bit earlier. He nearly got into the back of Garrett Conrath. He's got to be frustrated. He's just trying to get through these slower guys. He's made his way through. Joseph Collada trying to make his way around. Oh, they're tight, real tight as they go into 4. So I think these guys are pitting. Yep, Garrison Hogan coming in. Caden Honeycutt. Big sideways. And looks like, man, look at Nelson. He's made up a ton of ground here as these guys trying to get their stops in.
Now let's watch Overland. He's in 1 and 2. I think Overland will come back out here and be your race leader. And he's got a 2.5 over Kyle Peddle. Yeah, and I think this will be pretty appropriate here because after Overland, if he takes the lead, of course, he was just able to avoid that last wreck that brought out the first and only caution flag. Here they come, front straightaway. Chris Overland to the lead.
Real curious to see. Obviously, these guys will be a pretty good clip behind our new leader, Chris Overland. I'm curious to see just how bad the fall off is going to be once these guys get back out here, and I'm curious also see when these guys will pit again. I mean, we're only about got about 68 laps to go, and these guys are definitely gonna have to pit again. I'm curious to see if they're gonna have to split it.
We'll have to wait and see. As we cross the halfway point about 15 laps ago, it's time to bring you the iRacing Midway Race Break, brought to you by iRacing. iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in Australian supercars, IndyCar, IMSA, NASCAR, the World of Outlaws, and more. It is now Chris Overland, your race leader. Here at Charlotte, Kyle Peddle in 2nd, Eddie Kerner in 3rd, Brandon Hoff in 4th, Jeremy Davis in 5th, Liam Brotherton 6th, Blake McCandless rounds out in 7th, Joseph Galata in 8th, Matthew Lee in 9th, and Omar Diallo here, Kevin, in P10.
Lance Nasir will be in 11th, Tim Sozio up to 12th, Mitchell Hunt in the 19 machine, he's in 13th, Christian Peterson will be 14th, rounding out your top 15, Kason Plott in the number 27 machine, Lucas Cram in 16th, 17th going to be Kevin King, PJ Evans in 18th, Garrison Hogan in 19th. These things are changing like crazy. And now 20th is Will Norton. These guys are all over the place.
Yeah, well, as soon as I talked about the 2nd place, Eddie Kerner took the 2nd spot away, and Kyle Peddle fell all the way back to 4th. Meanwhile, in 21st, it was Caden Honeycutt. Now it's Will Norton. Will Klein in 22nd. Garrett Conrath, 23rd. Ben Nelson, 24th. Jose Salas Jr., 25th. Timu Toika, 26th. Borja Valero, 27th. Christopher Pfeiffer, 28th. Dustin Johnson, 29th. And Brandon Hawk rounds out the top 30.
Some notable retirees: 31st, Nate Trado, 50 laps down. 32nd, Jared Torres, he's in 57 laps down. Michael Frisch, we'll get a word with him momentarily. He will be 33rd unless he can get out here and snag a couple of points. Ryan Lowe, 34th, and P35, 87 laps down. Trevor Perry in the number 28 machine. Tough break for these guys.
That concludes tonight's Midway Race Break, iRacing Midway Race Break, with over 170,000 drivers on the service and over 90 laser scan tracks and cars to choose from. iRacing is your portal to the racing world. Get on track today at iRacing.com. So now we turn our attention eventually here. We're going to try and get a hold of Michael Frisch, who is not on the racetrack. He's still on pit road. He's been there for 35 minutes, and he'll be there for a little while longer, but he'll be getting back on the racetrack here in a little bit. And actually, he's almost ready to come back out onto the racetrack, so we won't get to hear from him. Right now, he's 59 laps down. Nate Trado, who's in front of him, as well as Jared Torres. Torres is on the same lap as Frisch. Trado is 7 laps up the road, but Trado is no longer running. So Frisch has the potential to make 2 positions up here as we are closing in on just 60 laps to go. Chris Overland is no longer your race leader. Eddie Kerner made the pass while we weren't paying attention. So it's Kerner, and Blake McCandless has wound up in second, and here he comes for the lead. Hold on. I was about to throw it to break, but Blake McCandless kind of spoiled the party. I thought he was a lap down or something. So here comes McCandless. He wants to win. He finished second at Atlanta earlier this year, and he'll pull to the inside and blow by Kerner and retake the lead. We have a little over 60 laps to go here from Charlotte Motor Speedway in the 6th race of the first round of the eNASCAR Road to Pro Qualifying iRacing Series. Blake McCandless, your race leader. We'll go side by side. You won't miss a thing here on STN.
We've been waiting for this moment. Generations of innovation all coming together in one place. A pedigree of more than 70 years of NASCAR Cup Series history, from the past to the present, from Petty to Earnhardt to Elliott. Today, there's no more waiting. The future of NASCAR is now. Drive the next-gen cars today on iRacing and step into the next generation of racing.
You saw it there as we were side by side. Garrison Hogan stuck 3 wide, almost made contact. It's getting dicey trying to get through the lap traffic. As Blake McCandless, he's on cruise control right now, pulling away by a lot, but it is a hornet's nest from about 9th on back. Garrison Hogan trying to lead the charge around Case and Plot as well. We've only had 1 caution, 6 leaders, 8 lead changes. We've had a lot of passing tonight. A lot of strategy, but right now Blake McCandless back out front. He dominated earlier on before the green flag pit stops came around this second time around. Has wound up back out in front, and right now things are looking pretty good for the driver of the 8.
1 second lead over the Eddie Kerner machine. A lot of shakeups here due to this last round of pit stops. Chris Overland still maintaining his track position. He's now all the way back up into the 3rd spot after losing the lead. He was around 12th to 15th before this round of pit stops. So good call on the pit wagon of that number 23. Brandon Hoff is in 4th. Kyle Peddle, he's been all over the map tonight. He has made his way into the top 5. But as you mentioned there, Jacob, a lot of these guys trying to make their way through this pack. Garrison Hogan and Caden Honeycutt cutting through this big pack behind them. It got real hairy when we were under break. Almost a big incident between him and one of the lap cars, and Brandon Hoff, who has a little bit better tires. He's trying to navigate his way through the field and get back 1 lap down. But a lot of different strategies, a lot of different tire management going on right here We'll see when this next round of pit stops. They may be right around the corner. I believe we'll see some of these guys trying to split it in half. We may very well see pit stops around 125 to 128.
Just try and make it to the end. We may see others, instead of kind of short pitting, take this stint all the way and then take the fresher tires at the end, see how that plays out. We saw Chris Overland, he pitted earlier at least. Was in the lead for a while before he got caught and blown by in a hurry. So Overland right now, he's back in the third spot, but he has company closing in right now. Brandon Hoff, Kyle Peddle, well, he's falling way back. Garrison Hogan, he is a rocket. Same with Caden Honeycutt, just trying to slice and dice through this traffic.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a little bit of teamwork here between Caden and Garrison, knowing they're both on very good tires. They pitted on the same lap, and these guys were, battling out for the lead right before we had this pit stops transpire. So now they're up to fourth and fifth respectively. Some guys falling back because of that. Brandon Hoff now falling outside the top five. Kyle Peddle outside the top five. He's now in seventh. So things starting to kind of get back to normal. Chris Overland, the next potential victim, he may very well go back from third to fifth through 1 and 2. We'll see how that works. But right now, Clean Air once again the beneficiary here. Blake McCandless up to about a 1.8 second lead over our second place competitor in Eddie Kerner.
Well, Peddle and Overland are on the oldest tires right now out of the leaders. 27 lap old tires for Overland, 26 lap for Peddle as he just booted Brandon Hoff out of the way and then turn 3 and 4. I thought he was going to turn him, just rattled his cage a little bit. I can't imagine Hoff's going to be happy because there's a snarling pack with Jeremy B. Davis, Will Klein, and others right behind him.
Yeah, definitely don't want to have your momentum killed here, especially when you got 4 or 5 trucks trying to get every position they can. Here comes Will Klein on the inside line. And like I mentioned, Brandon Hawk in the middle of this, he's 30th, 2 laps down. He's got better tires than these guys. So they're having to deal with not only people for position, they're going to have to deal with this 24 machine of Brandon Hawk. He's kind of throwing a wrench here in this big battle here from about 7th to about 15th. So once he gets around this, we may be able to see these guys duke it out. But he's going underneath Kyle Peddle right now. Will Klein trying to follow him and go after the number 6 position of Kyle Peddle. But, man, this is a huge battle for position. You got Will Norton here in the mix. He's trying to make his way through this. Brandon Hoff has now fallen back from 4th all the way back to 10th. So a lot of movement here from about 5th to 11th.
Kyle Peddle, see you later. He's stuck on the high side. Will Norton's going to blow by him. Hoff is getting to him now. Case and Plot there as well. Jeremy Davis. They're all just trying to sort it out and pretty much get away from each other and try and focus in on McCandless. Problem is that the gap is almost 2 seconds between McCandless and now Caden Honeycutt. We saw them battling right at the end of that last green flag stint before the pit stops. So it's possible that it is down to the 8 and the 14 to duke it out here at Charlotte. And if they make a mistake, Garrison Hogan will be right there to sweep them off their feet and pull away with the win.
Eddie Kerner relegated now to 4th due to Honeycutt and Hogan's just absolute drive through the field. Him and Overland pretty much on the same tires within a thousandth of a second of each other on the lap times. Will Klein is now gotten out of that giant pack. He's now in 6th. Ben Nelson having a great run in 7th. Will Norton now up to 8th. Case and Plot, he's finally kind of gotten out of that too. This is kind of starting to settle out a little bit here in the top 10. Things finally starting to get single file. We very well may see a potential battle for the lead here in the next 10 laps or so. About 2/10 faster is that Caden Honeycutt machine against Blake McCandless. Went from 1.7 to 1.5 last time by as far as the interval goes.
And Honeycutt's only on 4-lap fresher tires as Kevin King trying to get by Garrett Conrath back here. Got scary for a moment. Looks like they're able to sort it out as Conrath just clinging to that 13th spot. Kevin King knocking on the back door. He wants it, but not going to get it this time around. We're inside 50 laps to go as we are watching Caden Honeycutt and Garrison Hogan trying to push themselves here to the back bumper of Blake McCandless. Hogan, the fastest car or the fastest truck on the track.
32.288 for that number 9 machine. A little bit slower, which is to be expected. We're in the wake of the draft. Caden Honeycutt 32, and then you got Blake McCandless 32.52. So this lead is definitely shrinking around about 0.2 of a second. We very well may see a battle here for the lead around lap 27, around 140 laps to go, or sorry, 40 laps to go, and then behind them we have another big gaggle here. Here comes Will Klein and Nelson by the 18 and 23 of Eddie Kerner and Overland. These guys are hemorrhaging spots, having pitting early. They're definitely going to be losing a lot of spots. Will Norton is around as well. And then here comes Case and Plot in the lap car once again. Brendan Hawk, he's in the mix again.
Yeah, he's just been lurking there. He was out in front of McCandless for a while on that last stint. Now he's mixed in with everybody and kind of being a hindrance for those that are faster, just because it takes up room on the racetrack for the slower cars to go. Gap between McCandless and Honeycutt is down under a second, and Garrison Hogan is right up on Honeycutt, trying to push him to the lead as the 24 goes around the outside of Overland. Brandon Hawk, it's going to work. And now here comes Case and Plot to the inside. Can't quite get there.
Quick note, the number 35, you talked about him a little bit there, Jacob, hit the wall maybe into turn one. He has made his last pit stop about 3 laps ago. I don't know if he can make it on fuel from there. We'll have to keep an eye on that 35 machine. Looking back at the battle for the lead, starting to shrink once again. It is under a second, 0.8 of a second gap between Blake McCandless and Caden Honeycutt. And then you got Garrison Hogan looming behind that number 14 truck. So we very well may see a 3-way battle for position. Next battle behind them, here comes Will Norton underneath Will Klein. That'll be a battle for 5th. Put the number 4 machine in the top 5 once again. Will Klein trying to hang on here for dear life to stay in that top 10. Case and Plot underneath. That's the number 23 machine of Chris Overland, and Kyle Peddle trying to get around him as well.
Ben Nelson, he kind of slid into this 4th spot right now in that 15 machine. Just kind of hanging around. He's been consistent inside the top 10 all afternoon long, but has been able to crack the top 5 and is running faster than the 3 trucks in front of him, McCandless, Honeycutt, and Hogan. Problem is he's 3 seconds back from McCandless and still losing time.
Regardless, I think you got to, if you're Ben Nelson, you got to love what you're seeing right now. Clean air. You got these guys behind you. They're pretty much, like you said, they're a little bit slower, so he can kind of mind his own race here. And just once he gets his pit stop done, we'll be going to the finish. But he's one of those guys who's tied for 70th, so he needs this kind of result going into Martinsville and Dover. He probably, has done the math and knows he's got to finish like this, especially with guys like Jordan Worth, who's in top split. And then someone like Eric Wineland, Corey Brown, who may be in a lower split, that have been very competitive in their respective races. He knows he's going to have a result like this, and especially with someone like, Michael Frisch. Was way up in the points. That may also play into a factor of this big points battle as we go into Martinsville in 2 weeks.
Right now, Hogan has kind of fallen off and isn't closing in on McCandless as much as he was. Chris Overland is on pit road to make his final stop. Same with Jeremy Davis in the 34. So the window is now open. Not surprised to see Overland being the first one to come onto pit road. Question is, will it work out for him?
Yeah, and this was something I definitely expected. Split this run, pit around lap 79 to 82 last time. They're pitting around now with 40 laps to go. This will definitely be their final stop, barring a caution. And here comes some more guys. Here comes Hoff and Liam Brotherton. Liam Brotherton had a good rebound. He was up to 13th before this next round of pit stops. He's done a good job. But there's definitely a tale of 2 strategies. You either split it here or you pretty much let it run out. And I'm curious to see if these guys up front like Hogan, Honeycutt, and McCandless, to see if they come in a little bit sooner rather than later.
Who's going to be the one to step out of the box on strategy, make things interesting here for us? Is right now Garrison Hogan half a second back on McCandless. He's gotten away from Honeycutt a bit and is now back to closing in McCandless.
Yeah, those guys exchanged positions. I'm not sure what happened to Honeycutt. He was leading that 2-truck duo trying to catch McCandless, and I think Caden may just have used his stuff up just a little bit. So we're starting to see that gap expand from second to third. Hogan just looks like he's got the best tires on the long run. he's trying to close the gap on McCandless, and we very well may see a lead change before this last round of pit stops. Here comes the number 21 machine of Borja Valero. Haven't heard a lot about him. He's struggled tonight. He's a lap down. He's done with his pit service. Then I almost hits the wall around the leaders. But a lot of banter going on right now in the driver chat. These guys are not happy with each other during these pit stops.
Yeah, it's, well, why don't you get out of my way? Well, there's only so much room on the racetrack to go when you're in the way.
He loose out of turn 2. Sorry there, Jacob. Man, he got real loose out of turn 2. Thought we were going to have a big one there.
Here's Garrison Hogan within 0.2 of a second of the back bumper of McCandless. I don't expect it to be long, and by long I mean 3 laps until Hogan gets by McCandless here. McCandless slides up the racetrack just a little bit, and Hogan is right in his tire tracks as we are coming to 35 to go this time around.
Saw these guys kind of plateau for a moment there. Last lap, 32.742 for McCandless, 32.53 for Garrison Hogan. So he is definitely the fastest of these two. Caden Honeycutt starting to fall off just a little bit, 32.630 last time by. Behind them, Ben Nelson still showing a great pace. He ran a 32.541. He just needs some track position at this point. He's now closed the gap to 2.5 seconds. So
McCandless, he's coming in this time. Blake McCandless is calling the strategy now. He's coming in. Garrison Hogan going to stay out. Carner is coming in this time. Omar Diallo coming in. Will Norton coming in. Case and Plot. Kyle Peddle. Kerner, as I mentioned. Good grief. It's lunchtime. It's feeding time at the zoo because about half the field just came onto pit road that last time around.
God, this guy's super squirrely, especially with those barrels right there. Jose Solis Jr. almost hit him. And also that number 27 at Case and Plot. I think this is the right call. Don't let these guys that pit a little bit earlier than you get out too far to the lead. They pitted about 6 or 7 laps later. Now you got to wait and see what happens with this number 9. Here comes Garrison Hogan. Here comes Caden Honeycutt. Ben Nelson is in.
Everybody.
Number 3 machine of Will Norton. This is going to pretty much conclude the top 10 or so in terms of pit stops. We're going to see where these guys settle out, but I think this is the right call. Don't let those guys pit too early here.
Matthew Lee has taken the lead. Himself, Dustin Johnson, Christopher Pfeiffer. Those are the only 3 that have not pitted yet. Everybody else has come onto pit road. And Matthew Lee's coming in this time. He's on 48 lap old tires, so he wouldn't be able to make it much longer from here anyway. He's coming in, looking around for Dustin Johnson. He's headed for turn number 3 right now. And it looks like he will stay out. So Dustin Johnson will come around and take the lead. Pfeiffer will stay out and he will take second. Then, based on how things cycle through, Lucas Cram will be our race leader when things cycle out. Chris Overland is going to be in, I believe, the 6th spot.
Looking at the standings right now, I'm just trying to see where these guys are going to settle out. Blake McCandless does have a pretty good advantage over the, his prospective challengers, Garrison Hogan and Caden Honeycutt. We'll see how this transpires over the next 30 laps or so. But like you said, Lucas Cram out to about a 1.5 lead over Joseph Galata. He pitted way early, so we'll expect him to go from 2nd to maybe 10th in the next 3 or 4 laps or so. But it looks like everything kind of settling out. The only 2 guys that haven't pit are that number 30 and number 17 of Pfeiffer and Johnson. And it looks like they're hemorrhaging time quick.
Case and Plot set the fastest lap of the race 2 laps ago. Dustin Johnson continues to stay out, waiting on Pfeiffer. Looks like he will stay out as well. So I think they're just waiting and praying for caution. Not sure they're going to get it here because they're going to have to pit within the next 5 laps.
Battle for position behind them. Joseph Galata, as I mentioned, starting to lose those proverbial spots. Liam Brotherton gets around him. Jeremy Davis gets around him. They start battling. That'll be now for a 5th position. He's still hemorrhaging a ton of time. Here comes Overland, but even faster, here comes Blake McCandless. He's got the newest tires in this bunch. He's going to get underneath Overland. Now he's going to try to deal with Joseph Galata. He gets loose and nearly gets into the back of that Joseph Galata machine. He gets around him safely, but once again, these tires all over the place in terms of strategy, different speeds, different deltas here as they go through the corners.
Just saw a picture from our friends at Podium Esports for their top split. They just had the huge one, sending one truck up into the catch fence and another one up into the air. We've gotten lucky, and we haven't had that, knock on wood. But I'm sure for a guy like Blake McCandless, he's praying that doesn't happen, because he does not want the field to be bunched up and have to carve through traffic. This is plenty for him right now, as he's got about a second back to Garrison Hogan, who will be fighting him for the win. Hogan out in front of Honeycutt. They are charging, and they are running just a little bit faster than McCandless right now.
Negotiating these slower vehicles. There goes Christopher Pfeiffer. He's now under the clutch of these guys who have now taken their final pit stop, so he's going to be very easily a lap down. He's still praying for a yellow. He's going to go fall back behind McCandless. Now Davis, here comes Garrison Hogan and Caden Honeycutt. He's nearly a hazard as he goes into turn 4 and starts to funnel out there, but praying for a caution. One guy that's definitely not praying for a caution is going to be Blake McCandless. He is still about a second and a half ahead of Garrison Hogan and Caden Honeycutt. He's trying to navigate these drivers ahead of him. Liam Brotherton behind him now. Here comes Blake behind Brandon Hoff. So things starting to finally be back to normal here at the front. He goes to the outside of Brandon Hoff, trying to perform a strong move on the outside line there.
Ooh, and Hoff slowed up the racetrack a little bit, but McCandless able to keep the power down and take the spot away. Christopher Pfeiffer came onto pit road. He's going to cycle out, I believe, in the 13th spot. Dustin Johnson continues to stay out and is still your race leader with 26 coming to 25 laps to go.
Quick correction on the Christopher Pfeiffer machine. He's just that slow. He ran a 33.
Well, then, if he didn't pit, then he crashed and hit something hard, because he sank like a rock. I thought he did pit, pitting. But McCandless now in second. Lucas Cram to the lead, but not for long, because here comes the cavalry of McCandless, Hogan, and Honeycutt.
Tell you what, this traffic is definitely bode well for the number 9 and 14. They have closed the gap immensely on Blake McCandless, and tires being the way they are, and the way Garrison has been the best truck of these three on the long run. I expect that number 9 machine to give that 8 all the money in the bag as far as putting a bet on him. He's going to be a threat here at the end. We got another guy coming in. Here comes Dustin Johnson to finally round out the pit stops here.
So everybody's now pitted. We've got 24 laps to go, and Blake McCandless has a 0.3 of a second lead over Garrison Hogan. I believe by this point McCandless has led the most laps. Honeycutt and Hogan, the top 3, have all led at some point tonight. McCandless leading the most of them thus far, as we're coming around to 23 laps to go. It now falls on the shoulders of Garrison Hogan and Caden Honeycutt. What can they do to get by McCandless and try and get to victory lane?
McCandless has the clean air, but right now Hogan and Honeycutt have the tires. Can they close this gap quick enough before these tires start to plateau, as we only have 23 laps to go? The number 8 machine of Blake McCandless breaking that weight down the backstretch, snaking down the backstretch, almost like the super speedway as they go into turn 3. 22 laps to go this time by. Looking at the lap times, they're already starting to even out just a little bit. Garrison Hogan a 1:85 last time by. 2:45, now a 3:83 for McCandless. Behind him, Garrison Hogan a 3:16. So these guys are already starting to even out, but still, Garrison Hogan and Caden Honeycutt closing this gap, as now Caden trying to make that high line work.
Barring chaos, we will have a first-time winner tonight. The top 3 have not gone to victory lane this season. Will Norton in 4th has gone to victory lane twice. We saw him, I believe, win at Talladega a few races ago. No, he didn't win at Talladega. He was close at winning at Talladega. Brandon McKissick won Talladega. But nonetheless, Will Norton does have 2 wins. They haven't come in second split, though.
Single file, 1st through 3rd. Here comes Garrison Hogan looking low on the Blake McCandless machine into turn 3. Blake throws it in there, and he maintains it for now. But that number 8 machine back up front, still side by side. He's going to think better of it for right now. Here comes Garrison once again, trying to get that run, almost nearly side drafting him through this quad oval. Here comes Garrison Hogan on the inside.
I thought Garrison was going to get into McCandless there down the front straightaway. I wasn't going to lie. Here comes Hogan around the outside, around the inside. McCandless keeping his foot in it on the high side, but I think Hogan should be able to clear him here. Heading into turn number 3. Honeycutt now dives to the inside. McCandless throws it in up top, still trying to keep the momentum going. Hogan clears McCandless, but McCandless will slide into second with 19 laps to go.
Got Windshield Deep representing that Garrison Hogan machine, and then you got Kligerman Smart representing Blake McCandless on that outside line. New leader here. Garrison Hogan has now taken over for first. Here comes Caden Honeycutt. He's trying to get back into this mix. He's getting underneath Blake McCandless. He knows that Garrison Hogan is now the man to beat. He's got to get around this number 8 truck as they go into turn 3.
And McCandless is the slowest out of the 3 of them. In fact, fastest man right now with the leaders is Will Norton back and forth. Problem is, he's 2.5 seconds back.
Maybe just a little bit too far out to get into that draft wake. But if these guys keep battling, Caden Honeycutt does get into second. If Caden can get to that number 9 truck of Garrison Hogan, these guys can get to racing, and Will Norton may have a shot solidly in 4th right now. So he's just hoping for these guys to start battling real tough behind them. Case and Plot and Ben Nelson now battling. Ben Nelson looking to rally. He was around 10th about 5 laps ago, negotiating these guys who pit a little bit earlier. He's now back up to 5th, about 3.8 seconds behind. But as of right now, Garrison Hogan about a 0.3 of a second lead over Caden Honeycutt with 18 to go.
Now, we talked about it earlier, how Blake McCandless wouldn't want a caution. Right now, he's praying for a caution right now, so he can come on pit road, get fresh tires, get a short run here to end the night, and he has a chance to get by Honeycutt and Hogan again. If that doesn't happen, as of now, I don't see a feasible chance for McCandless to get back out in front here.
Things starting to spread out just slightly between the top 3. Garrison Hogan starting to open up that gap on the number 14. He is now set sail. He was about 0.2 of a second faster than our second place driver in Caden Honeycutt. Now 0.4 of a second is the gap. Big gap now compared to what it was before. These guys were under a blanket. Now we got about a second separating these guys. Will Norton has also lost time. So the one guy that definitely does not want that caution coming out is that number 9 machine as we approach 15 laps to go.
Well, and I watched Will Norton. He bounced it off the outside wall coming off turn 2. That's not going to help him in catching the top 3. In fact, he's lost a 10th. And Caden Honeycutt has lost a 10th to Garrison Hogan as well. Garrison Hogan trying to come away with his first win on the season. In points, Garrison Hogan sits 21st. 1 top 5, 329 points above the cut line. As this would pretty much punch his ticket to the next round, making it that much easier for him next week in 2 weeks at Martinsville, and then 2 races from now in Dover.
Oh, they're 3 wide out of turn 4. Nearly got into it there. Kerner, Brotherton, and I believe that was Lucas Cram. He's fallen back from the lead all the way now back to 11th. That almost got hairy out of turn 4. They finally settle it out. Here comes Liam Brotherton on that outside line. He's trying to get around Eddie Kerner. Eddie Kerner trying to make that inside line work, but that got real hairy. Just the way this has transpired, a lot of passing, especially up front. Here comes Brandon Hoff, getting passed by Garrett Conrath. He pitted a little bit earlier. He's going to fall back. A lot of good recoveries here. Liam Brotherton, he was around 18th, 19th position when we went back to green. He is now back in the top 10, so good recovery in that number 2 machine as they're starting to spread out even more up front now. 4.5 tenths between Garrison Hogan and Honeycutt.
But it's not over. Honeycutt is inconsistently railing in Garrison Hogan for the lead. I'm not sure if Hogan has kind of hit the wall, so to speak, with his tires, that they're just not giving him as much as he wants or what. Honeycutt just marginally faster, and it's staying right at about 0.4 of a second, maybe 0.3 of a second, depending on where they're at on the racetrack. But Caden Honeycutt almost lost it off of 2. That's not going to help at all.
Desperation mode potentially settling in there, that number 14 truck. Last time by, like you mentioned, very, very close between these two, about 15 thousandths of a second separating first and second. We'll look at the lap times this time by, looking at the line. Looks like Garrison Hogan 2.54, a little bit faster that time compared to 3.75 for Honeycutt. So that opens up the gap to a little bit over 0.5 of a second. If Garrison can just keep this green and keep that momentum, he will be getting his first Road to Pro qualifying win of the season. And then another good performance here from Caden Honeycutt in second.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Honeycutt did that last time around, but he lost about 3/10. The gap has doubled as we are coming to 10 laps to go. And Garrison Hogan just needs 10 good laps, and he should be able to hold on to the lead and pick up his first win on the season here at Charlotte.
Looking around the field, not a lot of battles. These guys still trying to fight for points. Looking at the top 10, we've talked about Hogan, Honeycutt, and now McCandless has fallen back to third. Will Norton in fifth, Ben Nelson fifth. Case and Plot having a good run in sixth. Kyle Peddle in seventh. Will Klein in eighth. Kerner ninth. He was up in the front all race. I don't know what happened to him in that 18. He is now falling back to ninth, and Liam Brotherton has rallied into the top 10. But pretty much single file at this point. Only real battle on the track at the moment is between Solis Jr. and I believe that is Omar Diallo for 15th with 9 laps to go.
Well, with Kerner, he had a short-run truck and got bit by strategy when that caution came out, the only caution flag of the afternoon, and that really kind of hurt him. And then since we've been green since that point, Kerner's just fallen back further and further through the field as Honeycutt, it's almost a second gap between him and Garrison Hogan. That thing is, I think, about a 13 on the loose scale right now.
Got long run trucks, got short run trucks, but Garrison Hogan has proven he is the best truck right now, opening up almost a second gap over that number 14 truck of Garrison Hogan. Things starting to close up just a little bit for fourth as we got a near three-way battle there between Norton, Nelson, and Plott.
And right now, Norton is the slowest out of that three, so he may get passed by one or both of them before this thing's said and done. Looking ahead at what's upcoming here on STN, FTF1 tomorrow night, round 6 and 7 from Montreal. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Again, tomorrow, 9 o'clock. Then FTF Grand National Series presented by Bar Visuals, round 15 from COTA. Good luck. That's Saturday at 10 o'clock. And then next Friday, FTF1 rounds 8 and 9 from Indianapolis Motor Speedway, 9 o'clock Eastern for that one. And of course, then we're back in 2 weeks with more of the eNASCAR Road to Pro Qualifying iRacing Series second split. We are at Martinsville. And that's going to be something.
I definitely don't. I'm not envious of the position these guys are in. I talked to a couple guys before this. I talked to Jordan. He was not really necessarily excited about having to run these races. It becomes very stressful having to deal with the points. So I'm sure Martinsville is not going to lend itself to being a very stress-free environment. As we look at the track right now, 5 laps to go, still battling here from 4th, 5th, and 6th. Ben Nelson looking to get to the back of that number 4 machine of Will Norton, but Case and Plott doing everything he can to put the distraction on him, now looking for 5th into turn 3.
I'm sure he'd rather go to Martinsville than to Circuit of the Americas. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Or Bristol Dirt.
Yeah, I will say I'm surprised that we're doing Circuit of the Americas in the FTF GNS series. I can't say that honestly, but it's going to be an interesting couple of races on the FTF side. FTF1 has put on some crazy shows. I've been fortunate enough to watch those guys race week in and week out. That'll be exciting. And then, of course, FGNS. Zach Johnson loves the road course races. Get to see 60 cars, 60 stock cars navigate this new Circuit of the Americas facility.
3 to go this time by, I think. Yes, 3 to go. And Ben Nelson and Case and Plott, you saw it there on the broadcast. Holy moly, they were dirt tracking it there.
Still nothing really changing up front. Garrison Hogan is in first. Caden Honeycutt second. Will Norton third. We're going to focus on this battle as they go into turn 3. Here comes Nelson underneath Norton. And Norton's got to be careful here. He may very well lose 2 spots here. But he's holding strong right now on that high line. And they're honestly catching. They're not going to have a lot of time, but they're honestly catching that number 8 truck of Blake McCandless. So we had a few more laps. They were able maybe battling for third, even second as they go into 1 and 2. 2 laps to go for the number 9 truck of Garrison Hogan.
Garrison Hogan has got to be on the loud pedal as much as he's been all night. He just needs to get to the white flag. If he gets to the white flag, we do not need to go into overtime. We have 3 green-white checkers if we need it, but we can pocket them and save them for the next 2 races. White flag for Garrison Hogan. 1 more lap to go here from Charlotte.
Great performance tonight for Garrison. This will be his first win of the night, or first win of the season. Definitely needed a good points night for the top 70. I would love seeing Garrison form well. A former teammate of mine on the dead zone side, he's definitely deserved it so far.
Garrison Hogan through 3 and 4 was not the dominant car of the day, but was there when it matters. He's pretty much going to punch his ticket into the round or into the group of 70. Garrison Hogan gets his first win on this season and wins at Charlotte.
Caden Honeycutt going to come barely across the line in second. Blake McCandless in third. Ben Nelson, great night. Definitely a much needed night. Was 70th coming into tonight. He will finish in fourth. Case and Plot, another impressive run for him. He will finish in the top 5 and 5th. Will Norton relegated back to 6th after that big battle those last few nights. Kyle Peddle in 7th. Will Klein comes across the line in 8th. Eddie Kerner 9th. And Liam Brotherton will round out our top 10 tonight.
Hogan's going to burn it down here on the front straightaway. As you mentioned, Honeycutt just barely held on to that second spot from Blake McCandless. Ben Nelson comes in with the 4th spot. Then Case and Plot in 5th to round out the top 5. As there you see the rest of the results. Will Norton 6th, Kyle Peddle 7th, Will Klein 8th, Eddie Kerner 9th, Liam Brotherton in the 10th spot.
Looking through the rest of the field, Garrett Conrad had a good run in 11th. Omar Diallo will finish in 12th. Lucas Cram, leader for momentary amount of time. He will finish 13th. Jose Salas Jr. in 14th. Brandon Hoff up and down all night. He will finish outside in top 15 or in 15th position. Jeremy Davis in 16th. Timu Toika around the back all night, consistent. He will finish in 17th. Christian Peterson, quiet night. He will finish in 18th. Tim Sozio 19th, and Mitchell Hunt will round out our top 20.
21st, Justin Nasier. I think I got his name right. I don't think I've read his name at all tonight. I apologize if it's wrong.
Nasier is what he likes to go by.
Nasier, good enough for me. 22nd, Matthew Lee. 23rd, Joseph Galata. 24th is Kevin King. In the 25th spot tonight, Chris Overland. Really, he fell back in a hurry there, finishing in the 25th spot. 26th, PJ Evans. 27th, Dustin Johnson. 28th, Christopher Pfeiffer. 1 lap down. Same with Dustin Johnson. He was the first truck 1 lap down. Brandon Hawk 29th. Borja Valero in the 30th spot.
Michael Frisch, he did end up getting back out there and he made up 2 spots. Very important for the top 70 battle. He will finish in 31st. Nate Trado will finish 32nd. Jared Torres 33rd. Ryan Lowe 34th. And Trevor Perry will be the caboose tonight. He will be 35th tonight here at Charlotte.
Well, we haven't been able to get a hold of Garrison Hogan or Caden Honeycutt, but we do have our 3rd place finisher, Blake McCandless. And, man, there was a point where I thought you were going to win this thing, and then we never saw a caution, which may have helped you out once you got out to the lead. Take us through your night. Earth to Blake McCandless. Okay, well, Garrison Hogan is now here. We can't hear Blake, so let's drag him out and let's try Garrison Hogan. Kevin is here with Garrison Hogan now.
Garrison, man, I didn't know this, but you hadn't won this year. You've been fast every time I see you in practice for Road to Pro. Tell us about your truck, man. You had a great long run, a lot of long run speed tonight.
Yeah, we worked really, really hard this week on making sure we kept our tires underneath the truck. That was the biggest thing. And it was props to Cody and Jared and a couple of others. We work hard every week to take our time and make sure we iron out every detail in the truck and make sure that we put every bit of attention to what we need to do every week to make the truck as fast as possible. So props to all of our guys for working hard.
Well, yeah, you started 10th tonight. Not necessarily the Q run you would want, but you made your way through the field I know you and Honeycutt were pretty much on the same strategy. Tell us about having to battle him, and then tell us about having to navigate that traffic through those rounds of pit stops. It was pretty crazy out there.
Yeah. So when me and Honeycutt kind of got together on the track and we pitted at the same time, I kind of knew at that point I have to be just as good as him on the short run. I felt like we were a little bit slower. I couldn't really save as much if I really wanted to, so I kind of had to keep up with him no matter what. And when I got a pit road on the first stop, when we came down for the green flag stop, he didn't get off a pit road as well as I did, and I kind of got enough of a gap right there. Getting through traffic, though, it was pretty hectic, like you said. I had my spotter in my ear. He was just saying, try to run the middle and, hopefully navigate the traffic that way. And it was tough. I won't lie. Some cars went side by side, and, other times I just didn't anticipate well. So Caden got by me, but I knew it wasn't a big deal. As long as I can keep on Caden's bumper, I could pretty much be there and hopefully get a shot to win the race. And that's what happened.
We go to Martinsville in 2 weeks. I know you were pretty well up in the points in the top 70 with tonight's win. Can you breathe a little bit, or are you still nervous about the paperclip in a couple weeks?
Historically, I'm not a great short track driver. So honestly, with me gaining max points here, that puts me really close. If not, it locks me into round 2. So at this point, I'm just going out there to have fun in Martinsville. I'm not going out there to try to prove a point necessarily and win the race. I just need to have a solid day, maybe just go out there to learn and get better as a race car driver on the short tracks. Round 2 has a couple of them. It's not going to be mile and a halves. Mile and a halves and pretty much plate tracks and 2-mile tracks are kind of the things that I really like. So we're going to be working really hard to get better at short track program and hopefully get better in the future for round 2 and possibly pro and Coke.
Well, Garrison, as a teammate of yours, I definitely was rooting for you out there. Congratulations tonight. I'll give you the mic. Who do you want to thank?
Yeah, again, my Team Dead Zone teammates, they are amazing. Everyone, has a hand in working on everything here on the Road to Pro team every single week. Cody Bias, Jared Lieber are the heads there. Houston Hammer, Dustin Linkard also pitch in when they can. And we work really hard, man. We're going to continue to do that. We're going to continue to push hard. I just hope the streak continues where I'm just having these great races and I don't have to worry too much about the crashes or anything else. I can just keep my focus on getting good finishes and having mistake-free races.
Congratulations again, Garrison. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Garrison Hogan, your race winner here tonight from Charlotte. And now, Blake McCandless. Are you live? Are you good now?
Yeah, I think I got you guys. I was having some Discord issue earlier. Not sure what that was about.
Well, that was the same issue that I had for the first 15 laps of the broadcast tonight. So don't worry, it's familiar around here. So take us through your night. As I said, the first time we tried this, you had a really strong car. You pretty much were my pick to win tonight. It just looked like you needed a caution once you got back up to the lead. Truck was more focused on short runs than long runs tonight.
Yeah, for sure. This Kligerman Sport Chevy was really, really fast on the short run. I mean, my goodness, we started those first couple of laps, and I just couldn't believe how much pace this thing had on the short run. So I knew we had that throughout the whole race, so I was going to use that to our advantage. We were going to try to pick off as many spots as we could. And, it wasn't an issue of me pushing too hard. I mean, this thing was just flying for the first 20 laps of a run, and it wasn't bad. A lot of the Nexus trucks and even Garrison, a couple of those guys, it was really lap 30 through 40 they kind of had a speed, and then after that we were pretty even. But yeah, we're really smart. We didn't get the qualifying run we wanted, so we were kind of back in traffic, but we got clear of it very quickly. Just rode around. Obviously the caution came out at the one caution we had came out at a great time. We were gonna, with the points position we're in, we could afford to be a little conservative, stay out as long as possible, make sure we didn't get trapped a lap down. So that ended up working in our favor. And then everybody just did a really good job preparing this truck, and it's pretty much put us into round 2. So just looking forward to that, and the last couple of races we have here to get things dialed in for that.
And before we send you on your way here to celebrate your third place finish, anybody want to say hi to?
Yeah, absolutely. Want to get a shout out to my man James Davison for winning the Pro Invitational last night. He did a brilliant job in that race. It's been really fun to work with him. Really happy that he was able to do that. Tried to win for him tonight, just wasn't able to get it done. But everybody that prepares these trucks in North Force Racing, I know Corey Carpenter, Santiago Tires, Vince March, just a bunch of guys that put in so much effort into this. I know I'm missing a couple of names, but Matt Fortham, everybody over in North Force Racing, they do a tremendous job. It was our debut with Kligerman Sport, new paint on the truck, new colors on an old throwback scheme. So shout out to David Schildhouse, Parker Kligerman, everybody over at Kligerman Sport for bringing me on and allowing me to kind of carry the banner here in this race for them, and just appreciative to those guys. And yeah, just ready to get after. And of course, thank you guys for doing the broadcast. I do a fair amount of it myself. It's fun, and appreciate you guys giving us that extra exposure. And again, we'll look forward to seeing you guys around too as well.
And of course, we'll see you in the chair on Saturday for FDF Grand National Series presented by Bar Visuals at CODA. Good luck.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
And congratulations on the third place finish. And we will see you in 2 weeks from the paperclip. Oh boy.
All righty. Thank you, Jacob.
Blake McCandless, your third place finisher here tonight. And we do have Caden Honeycutt squeaking in right at the buzzer, and Kevin McAdams is down with him.
Caden, you probably had one of the more inspiring drives through the field. Started 31st tonight. Tell us about your truck, man. That was an inspiring battle to get through the front.
Yeah, it was quite eventful. A long story short, I basically had no practice. I had like 1 hour, I think, last night at 2 a.m. when I got at my team owner's house. And I was so tired. I was like, okay, I'm just going to show up for the race, and whatever I get, I get. I showed up 2 minutes before signups were done. We tested at Caraway today from 7 a.m. to 7 o'clock. So had the real life racing check before our our virtual racing. But that was just an awesome truck. I can't thank Tucker Mentor and everybody at Nexus, Dave Walsh, everybody that worked just so hard on this setup while I was gone. I had no clue that I was going to be able to drive from 31st. I was really just accepting, okay, if we get top 15, I'll be just fine with this. And we just started moving through the field on like laps 30 to 40 before pit stops happened. And then we got that caution. I think that helped us out a lot. But man, that was just an awesome truck. It's just hopefully we can put together more races like this going into the second round. We got 2 more races left to go still first, but man, that was just an amazing drive, and I probably will just take this one and keep on learning from it for sure.
Well, we were going to Martinsville in 2 weeks. I know you're a short track guy running these late models all the time in real life. Are you expecting to be competitive there, even with the limited practice? You just were outside the top 50 in points. Are you expecting to keep the climb in points?
I think so. I think there's a slight disadvantage to not being on your own sim rig. I'm doing this entire first round on other people's rigs, and I have ones lined up for Dover and Martinsville. Just I can keep on getting practice while I'm at home. Luckily, school is out, so I'll have time on my hands this time. But man, I just hope we could, shoot solid top 15, top 10s is basically all we need. Nothing big, nothing fancy. Just knowing that at the second round that we're still going to have fast trucks. So keep being smart, and there's no need to go with a big old bullseye on everybody and just drive through people just for spots. And so luckily we don't have to do that anymore, and I'm pretty happy with that.
Well, Caden, we'll let you get out of here shortly. Who do you want to thank for your efforts tonight and for the rest of the year?
Thanks, Nexus Esports. What an awesome truck that we put together every RTP race. Race Face Brand Development, Rod Wortham, thank him for what he does for my real life racing. Justin Johnson Racing, everybody at the Late Model Stock Team for Cars Tour. Friends of Jacqueline Foundation, Prime Trailer Manufacturing, Arc Aviation, Reality Roofing, and everybody helps me on the dirt late model side in the real world. So thank you for everybody that tuned in tonight. Hopefully we'll see you all back at Martinsville.
Thanks, Caden. Have a good night and get some rest, my friend. I know those tests can be stressful.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
That was Caden Honeycutt, and I think Jacob, we're gonna wind this up here.
Yes, sir. So, again, just to hit what's upcoming, tomorrow night at 9 o'clock Eastern, we are here for FTF1 round 6 and 7 from Circuit Villeneuve in Montreal, Canada. Again, 9 o'clock tomorrow night. Then here's no commentary for that. FTF GNS presented by Bar Visuals on Saturday at 10 o'clock, round 15 from Circuit of the Americas. That ought to be fun. And then next Friday, rounds 8 and 9 from Indianapolis Motor Speedway, 9 o'clock Eastern, Friday, May 28th. Four Corner Racing League, Memorial Day Monday at Charlotte Motor Speedway right here. And then we are back in 2 weeks from tonight at Martinsville for round 7 of 8 of the of round 1 of the eNASCAR Road to Pro qualifying iRacing series. Final thoughts here, Kevin.
I thought tonight's race was awesome. I was not expecting this to be as handling dependent as it was. I was talking to some of my Dead Zone teammates, and they were expecting a little bit more drafting than handling. But it was good to see these guys battle it out, and the different pit strategies was fun to watch for sure. A lot of comers, a lot of goers. And a lot of newcomers coming to the front with Garrison winning. That's a great thing to see.
Well, that wraps up our coverage here on STN of the round 1 of the eNASCAR Road to Pro qualifying iRacing series, the second split. Again, we're back with this series in 2 weeks from Martinsville. We've got broadcasts all this weekend and next weekend for you. We hope you enjoy them. For Kevin McAdams and our producer, Zach Johnson, I'll get his name right sooner or later. I'm Jacob Pitts. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you, tomorrow, but no commentary from Montreal. Till then, thanks and good night.